Hi. I'm here to talk to you all about a game we're going to play today. So what we're going to do is we're going to do some drawing, and then we'll draw a period today, and then at the end of class we'll put our work away, and next class we'll work a little bit more, and then we're going to get into small groups and share our drawings with the group. So here's what we're drawing. Eyes, eyes, eyes. So each of you is going to get a random set of eyes like this. And the first thing you're going to do is you're going to flip them upside down. And you are actually going to look at them upside down and then create an upside down drawing in your process journal. So let me go ahead and set mine here. Okay, so you can see that right now, from your perspective, the eyes are upside down. So I'm going to leave them like this, even though it's actually a little bit more difficult for me to draw right side up. I'm going to draw right side up right now to give you all the idea of what we're doing. So taping them down. So here we've got the set of eyes, and I'm going to then draw them here. And there's a couple tips I want to give you for drawing today, and they're written behind me on the board right here. 1, 2, 3. So the first step is I want you to make observations about the thickness or thinness of the line. For instance, here on the top of this eye, which is on the bottom to you right now, but it's the top of the eye is a thick line versus the bottom, which is a very thin, almost blurred line that's actually broken. There's no line right there. And then it's, again, thin and blurred. So this top line will be thicker and very dark. This one will be thinner, lighter, more blurred, non-existent right here. It's an implied line. We don't see it. And then, again, blurred. So when you are drawing, you are trying to make observations about how thick or thin the lines are. And then when you make your lines on your paper, you're also going to make them thick or thin based on what you see in the drawing. The second thing is the angle of the lines, lines. So what I want you to observe about this, for instance on the eyebrow, is the direction or the angle that things are going. So for instance, I'm holding my pencil to the eyebrow right now, and it's at this angle. So I can actually move this down here onto my paper, and when I create my eyebrow on my paper, I can make it at that exact same angle, and it will look correct. Okay, next. 3. Proportions. Proportions is how big things are in relationship to each other. So when we're looking at the proportions of this eye, for instance, the eye is like, if I start at the eraser here in the corner of the eye and I go over here to this side, the eye is about the size of this. And then if I put my pencil in between here, you can see that the space in between the eye is like the same size as the eye itself. So when I'm looking at proportions, I'm trying to measure things against each other to see how big I should make stuff. So the first thing I'm going to do when I start drawing is actually just make a really light line, and that's going to be the guideline for where my eyes are going to go. And I would just draw like a very light rainbow, another light upside down rainbow. I'd skip a space that's the same size as the eyes that I just drew, and I draw another one. And something you might notice right away is that my eyes are a little bit uneven right now, and they are also, they're a little bit uneven, so they're not exactly the same shape, but they are drawn so lightly that I can observe my mistakes and then correct them before I go darkening things in. And for instance, making this top line really dark here in my drawing, I could correct the shape of it before I really started getting in here. So just like we talked about, there's an implied line here, no line there. This line is thick. So what I'm trying to do is draw upside down, disconnect my brain from the idea that I'm drawing an eye, and just replicate the shapes and the lines that I see. We do have this tool as well, which is super cool, and you'll see why. It's called a blending stump, and what I use this for is to do a little shading. For instance, on the drawing up here, there's a little shadow, so I could actually dirty this up here just in my top line, and then I could just try to replicate this little shadow, the little shading that's happening under here. I could even use it to kind of draw in the angle of where my eyebrow is going to be, all the while considering the line thickness, thinness, line angles, and proportions. So I want you all to have such a fun time drawing your eyes in your process journals today. Okay, bye.